Hello, everybody, and welcome to What's the Story podcast. This is WTS 310. My name is Danny Murray.
I'm Graham Merrigan. How are you, Danny?
Absolutely wonderful, Graham. I'm having a fantastic week, and I've no reason to complain at all. How are you?
Oh, good. It's 20 past 7 and it's still 18 degrees in the lovely metropolis of Ballybrack.
Absolutely amazing. Like the grand stretch and all that, it gets talked to death. But sitting at Bruce Springsteen the other night, and the sun was beaming down. It was a lovely bright evening, and I just thought to myself, sure, what else could you possibly want? Live music, lovely outdoor
No,
concert, the weather absolutely amazing. You cannot beat Ireland when the sun is shining.
I agree. Outdoor gigs as well are sensational. So how
Ah,
did that go? You went to see Bruce and Kilkenny, was it?
and yeah, Nolan Park in Kilkenny, and it was absolutely amazing, amazing.
How long did you
It's
play for?
3 hours and about 3 hours 20 minutes, 31 songs.
What?
Yeah, came on
That's
stage.
unbelievable.
74 years of age, Graham. Right, most of the E Street Band are in their 70s, and they play 3 hours and 10 or 3 hours and 20 minutes, whatever it was, straight. There's no costume changes. There's no interval. There's no just came on stage at 7:15, left the stage at about 10.
That's unbelievable. That
Absolutely
that's
amazing.
unbelievable value for money, isn't it?
Ah, yeah, Jesus. And I know that some people are like, oh, I couldn't be dealing with that. I couldn't be. But like, if you're going to like, I'd agree with you in the pictures. Like, I can't sit through those sort of 3 hour, 4 hour films. But if you're going to a concert, it's different, you know?
Yeah, because you don't know, especially an artist of Springsteen's kind of caliber and the
Mm.
repertoire and the songs that he has. I mean, you don't know what song he's going to play next because it's
Ah,
different every night, isn't it?
but like, there'd be parts of the set list now that would be the same. Like, he has kind of set pieces in there for the tour or whatever. But like, one of the things that Springsteen does that I maybe other artists do, I don't know. But like, when he's out there and he's playing with the crowd and he's doing stuff with the crowd, he'll take signs from the crowd that have songs written on them, and he'll change the set
The
list and play them. So somebody put up a picture of now. I've no reason to believe it's not like legitimate or whatever, but somebody, right? Some people will ask the band for like the printed set list, and they'll keep that as a little memento kind of thing. So
yeah, yeah.
somebody got one of the set lists from the gig, and four songs that were on that printed set list were swapped out for like crowd requests. And in my head, I'm like, one, just the skill of those lads to be able to on the fly be like, yeah, all right, I can play this straight away. Because I mean, Springsteen's been around since the 70s. Some of these songs they may not
Yeah,
have,
yeah.
like they're like the repertoire he has is so for him to just be like deadly, yeah, we'll play that one, holds the sign up, the entire band, you can see them going, all right, okay, yeah, yeah, I think I've got it. Yeah, and they just straight in, man.
But yeah, it's a bit fresh, isn't it? Because like we often go to gigs where if you're going to a gig and you've seen the artist before or the artist is
Mm,
on a tour or the band is on a tour, you'll often look at the set list on the previous legs of the tour and you'll see what songs, and a lot of the time they literally stay within that
yeah,
14, 15 songs, because when you're going to an arena show you're always only going to get an hour and a half.
yeah,
And I'm okay with that, by the way, considering because artists can't really make money off releasing albums anymore. I'm okay with the hour
yeah,
and a half
same.
gig for 60, 70 quid. But it would be great from time to time if they just changed it up a bit. Now, I went to
Yeah,
see Liam Gallagher maybe 2 years ago in Comano, and on the lead, the songs differed from night to night, but maybe only by about two or three songs.
yeah,
But still, you're kind of going,
and
oh, is
that's
he going to play Columbia tonight, or is he going to play whatever?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, that's great. Like Christy Moore would play from, if his gig in Vicar Street's at 10 past 8, then he'd be finished at quarter past 10.
that's still good going as well. Because
And yeah,
like,
that's 50, 55 quid. I think that's good.
That
That's very
that
good
is
value for.
that's
And
brilliant value.
the smaller the venue, the better for me because it's more intimate. Like
Yeah,
I don't think I'd enjoy Christy Moore in my depot anymore.
no, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. Like I don't mind kind of I'd prefer if they didn't do venues like I'm going to Crow Park this Sunday to see Bruce again, and like I've been to a good few
You
concerts
don't like
there.
Crow Park as a music
I
venue, though, are you?
Yeah, it's not designed to be a music venue. It's just so like I just I'm not a big fan of it, but equally, I'll still, I'm sure, enjoy the show. I've been to plenty of concerts there that I've enjoyed. A few years ago, myself and yourself saw U2 there, and I really enjoyed that gig. Um, but in general, I'm just not a big fan of Crow Park. I just think it's a overrated kip.
I feel like they don't use Lansdowne Road as much for a gig. I know they do. I know they use it. It's
Hmm.
about 3 or 4 gigs this summer, but you think that they'd be able to do more. And I've been at a gig at the new Lansdowne, and it's very, very good.
Yeah, I've only been to I think 3 gigs in since like Lansdowne reopened, and it's open now. What,
Yeah,
14, 15 years maybe? Is it? No, it couldn't
probably.
be
Yeah,
that long.
12,
But
13 years.
but I'm going.
2010, I think.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to see Pink this summer in the Aviva, and
Unreal.
I am buzzing for
How
that.
did
Say
you get
she,
those tickets?
I got them for Cubes as a kind of, I can't remember what the occasion was, but I said because Cubes are just like she'd said years ago she'd love to see her, and then when I said I'll just see Pink is touring or whatever, and she's like I said I'll get them, and sure enough I got them, and she was delighted in but
Pink Live is sensational.
oh, I don't
Saw her
doubt it.
in Australia in 08, 09. My God.
Yeah.
An absolute phenomenal show.
Yeah, I've seen clips like over the years that people share or whatever, and she's like swinging out her rafters and these like ribbons and doing all this like air
Yeah,
fucking acrobatic. Yeah, so
yeah. In with the
but yeah,
crowd, high fiving the crowd and upside down. She's unreal.
yeah, loving it. Looking forward to that. And then what else have I got this? So I've got the Killers, I've got Coldplay, I've got
Where are the
the
killers on?
they're just doing the point. They're just doing the point.
And where Coldplay's Crow Park, is it?
Coldplay is also Crow Park, and then Adele in Munich. So I have a lovely summer ahead of me.
That would be class.
I hope so. I really do. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I
um,
love all genres of music, in case you haven't noticed.
yeah, and I think that's like, do you remember when you were younger and the type of music you liked would be cause for slagging or cause for like it really was so defining. There was the lads who were only into rap. They were only into then there was the lads who were into their dance or their techno or their garage and that kind of stuff. And then you had your Oasis fans and all that kind of stuff. And then all the girls liked the pop music. And even though you did like them, if you dare admit you liked Westlife when you were a teenager in secondary school, so whereas now, we're in our 30s, we like what we want. And I'll sing along to Flying Without Wings if I want to, Graham.
Me and Pads used to sing in class when we were in school, Stephen Gately.
Yeah, we know.
He
May
had
the
that
Lord
song.
rest him.
May Lord rest him. He had that song. I've made up my mind.
Oh, do you remember that?
Time for a new beginning.
Oh,
Deadly. We used
wow.
to sing that down the back of the class.
Yeah, I
I just
used
loved
to.
Westlife.
Yeah,
Boys on.
yeah, dead right. Oh man, Boyzone. I absolutely love some of Boyzone stuff. Wasn't a big fan of Ronan solo, but I tell you what I did do. Gary Barlow solo, Open Road, great
Never
song.
took to him. Never
Did
took
you
to
never,
him.
never take the Gary Barlow? Love Gary
Not the
Barlow, man.
solo stuff. No,
Open Road's a beautiful song.
no, not the
Uh,
solo stuff.
um, yeah,
So you're on to the Killers,
I am.
Adele,
Yeah,
Pink. What else?
Coldplay, and then I've double duty on Springsteen, and there might be one or two
Unreal.
others that I get to as well.
I have Liam Gallagher in
Yeah.
the point. It's the Definitely Maybe album
Oh yes,
tour that
yeah.
he's still on. And I have CMAT in Fairview,
That'd be brilliant.
Fairview Park.
That'd
Fairview
be
Park's a great venue. I went to see Prodigy there last summer, and it was brilliant.
Yeah,
And
C Matt
that's all I have.
is C Matt is one that I think actually you switched me on to C Matt.
Yeah, I probably did.
I think you did, yeah.
I was mad about it when I saw it. Remember they revamped during COVID the Den on the Sunday night.
Mm,
Remember me and you were watching and
yeah,
absolutely texting each other and loving life.
yeah,
Um, she was a music guest on that, and I was like, she sounds really good. So check their stuff out. And she's released two albums back to back, and they've been two brilliant albums.
yeah,
And I'd
yeah.
say I wouldn't be surprised if a third one's on the way this year as well. But she's I went to see her in the Olympia in 22 and 23 Christmas,
Mm,
two brilliant gigs, and now she's obviously too big for the Olympia, and now it's Fairview, a tent
unreal.
in Fairview, probably about five and a half, 6,000 people, I think it holds.
Oh, pretty good, yeah. So not a million miles off, like live at the Marquee down in Cork.
No, I'm hoping to go to Kneecap and Fontaine's DC as well. But Fontaine's is until December, but the tickets are on
Yeah,
sale now.
yeah. I want to like the Fontaines DC, but I can't. I can't. And the same with the Mary Wallopers. I just can't. And
Oh,
that's
here, the Mary Wallopers, I wasn't mad about when I was listening to their albums. And
mm,
then I went to see them live at that Palestine benefit gig in the Point. And
mm,
them and Lancome blew my mind.
yeah. I just can't.
I was
I
like,
just
right,
I
I'm
haven't
in.
warmed up to it. Haven't warmed up to it at all now.
Have you have you heard have you heard much of Lancome?
Don't believe I have now. No.
Lancome are class now. That gig, Kneecap didn't play. But the Mary Wallopers, that gig when I seen them live, I was like, right, these are really good.
Mm, yeah. Well, look, more success to them.
So I'm in.
I watched them
More success.
On Jules Holland there a little while ago, and
That was New Year's Eve, wasn't it? That was
it
brilliant.
actually might have been New Year's Eve, yeah. And like again, it wasn't my cup of tea, but it looked like great fun. So fair play. And if you're going to their gigs, enjoy it. You know, again, we're not teenage boys,
Yeah,
Graham. I don't have to sit here being like, "How do you like that crap, man? What's wrong with you?" It's fair play to you.
I remember even the Limp Bizkit album that everyone loved when we were in
Chocolate
school. And
starfish
then,
and hot dog flavored water.
yeah, and the people that were original Limp Bizkit fans were going mad that we all loved that album.
Yeah, yeah. My only exposure and foray into listening to Limp Bizkit came courtesy of Mark Calloway, aka The Undertaker. It was the only Limp Bizkit
From
song that
Roland, was it?
yeah, yeah. Other than that, I didn't get, I couldn't get into it at all. I didn't, there was that kind of phase, wasn't there, where all those kind of bands came along, and then,
Yeah,
am
it was
am
like
I,
Alien Ant Farm and all, wasn't it?
I was gonna say, yeah, yeah, the Michael Jackson cover that they did, Smooth Criminal, wasn't it? You know, um,
Smooth Criminal, yeah. Who was it that who sang that song? Come my baby, come my baby, you're my butterfly,
oh, do you
sugar
remember
baby.
Crazy Town?
That type
The Crazy Town,
crazy hell. That type of I think it
absolute,
was it?
absolute dirt. But like, you know what I mean? Oh, that was like,
There was a real American Pie music though from the movie American Pie, wasn't there?
yeah. And then Uncle Cracker, do you remember that one? Follow me and everything will be. Do you know that? No, not
Oh
fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah. No, I said
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, you did. Sorry, there's a delay on the line, Graham. Must be the Ballybrack Wi-Fi. You on the neighbour's Wi-Fi again,
The neighbours Wi-Fi.
eh?
Would you want me to refresh or anything?
No, it's grand. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. I'll just factor in the delay there. Yeah, I remember when Linkin Park and
I
Jay
love Linkin
Z,
Park.
the Linkin Park and Jay Z collab when that first came out, unreal.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
hybrid theory, is that what it was called?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh my God. Even today, if Numb Encore just pops up on Shuffle on Spotify,
Yeah.
I'm staying in the car. I'm not getting out,
We went on the school trip to Italy in 2001,
Mm,
and that was the soundtrack of our school trip.
yeah.
Crawling, that song crawling
Oh,
in my skin.
crawling, yeah.
We had our MP3 players with all our little MP3 files,
Yeah.
and remember the MP3 players?
Oh, listen, I was only having this conversation recently, right? And
Mental.
do you remember mini disc?
Yeah,
Mini disc, yeah, my God. I remember when mini disc was radio stations ran on mini disc for a while. which was insane.
Did they?
Yeah, for longer than minidisc was around because the flexibility of the format and all that. Yeah, a
What
lot
do
of
you
them would
mean they
have.
ran on minidisc?
So like a lot of them would have had like
Songs on minidisc, like?
a lot of DJs would have done that, but also, where it probably would have been popular would have been uh radio shows that had like prank calls or they had those kind of segments and stuff like that because
Right, right.
you could record onto mini disc. So the format and the sound quality was obviously better than your tape,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot of them.
I needed one of the stuff that I needed for college was a mini disc player to do Vox Pop interviews and all.
Yeah, see, there you go.
We
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we'd be going out onto the street and interviewing members of the public about a certain subject with our MP3 players, with our mini disc players.
If you were doing that today, Graham, it would be all about the portal.
Oh yeah, the portal, the portal.
Out Vox popping there at the top of O'Connell Street about the portal.
Where is the portal? What's is it on Henry Street?
No, no, it's the intersection of O'Connell Street and what's the one at the top of it there?
Townsend Street.
No, 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 no. Gardner Street is in my head, but it's not Gardner Street at all. It's all right, Graham. We have Google at our disposal here, so
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm trying.
I'll do that because otherwise, the Dublin Port is currently called North Earl Street.
But that's what I meant by Townsend Street.
Yeah, Townsend Street is over near where the old press used to be, is it?
Probably.
I think it is anyway. Yeah, it's yeah. So it's near the James Joyce statue is the location of it, right? So
Right.
that should help people um locate it if they're
What do you
unawares.
think of it, Danny? What like in terms of the concept?
I
What do you think of the concept of it? Because I don't mind it. Like I think it's a good
No,
idea.
I don't mind it at all. Look, the world is smaller than it has ever been thanks to the internet, right? Like, and the
Mm,
idea of in real time having this fleeting glimpse into a foreign world and you can lock eyes with somebody on the other side of the world and just share that little moment. I love that. I think there's something very nice and very sweet and very wholesome about that. And
yeah, I
and
think it's
then
cool.
the mad Egypts of Dublin realize, hang on, this is it's like a social experiment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's they're like, what can we do to see how far we can push this? And as it turns out, it didn't take long to find the limit, you
Yeah.
know? And
But like anytime you're away, like if you're doing a city break or something. I remember I was in Madrid there with Carl Fitz last November and we went for a stroll as you do when you're in these cities and we went yonder using the metro and the public parks there with their chessboards and their
yeah,
public barbecues and like these parks are everywhere because they build up and you're living in apartment complexes. But we found ourselves walking around Madrid kind of saying you couldn't have that in Dublin, be
no,
wrecked. We have no respect, kind of, civil respect for civil stuff.
yeah,
Like we've no respect for that. Like
no.
people were saying, "Oh, that's the worst street to put it on." But I'm of the opinion any street in the city and you put that there and people will kind of take the piss
I
out of it. Or some of
yeah,
the people were putting fucking the Twin Towers.
yeah, and that like that. Look, right. So I agree with it. I don't think it's anything necessarily to do with the fact that it's on the north side of the inner city, and it. I think it you could have put it at the top of Grafton Street. You could have put it wherever you wanted, and the results would have been fairly similar, right? In regard to
Yeah, I agree.
Dublin city centre is a high footfall area that is prone to different kinds of shenanigans, more often than not involving drunk people or, people acting to ease it. Young lads with nothing better to be doing, thinking they're very funny. And it's that kind of stuff. I do think people are very quick to jump to the social class argument and blame it on,
Yeah,
and I'm like, no, don't punch down, lads. Let's not punch down. All right.
yeah, because I've seen
Um,
comments on, oh, put it on Grafton Street as if it's not going to happen on Grafton Street.
exactly. Yeah. As if like, posh lads won't act the mega and put up a thing at D4 or whatever. Or D4, to hear me, as if lads from
Yeah.
D4 wouldn't put up something from 911. Of course, they're just as likely to do it as anybody else, right? But you're 100% right. It is that whole thing of like, and I can't remember which journalist put it up, and it was like, this is why we can't have nice things. And never has that been more appropriate, that statement, because
Yeah.
it is genuinely a nice thing. I think it's a great idea, the portal. And
Nice
then
NYC was spelled.
that was one of the headlines, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think it's one of those things where like the whoever kind of was responsible for this did not think it through in terms of this is going to be 100% live, unfiltered, and people are going to figure that out very quickly. It is absolutely open to shenanigans and messing, and some of that will be innocent, harmless messing and a bit of fun, and some of that will be not so innocent, harmless, and not so fun. Um, but like your man Garen Noon, who I think
Yeah, he's
everybody follows,
brilliant, isn't
he's
he?
absolutely brilliant. I saw him talking about it and saying that he was looking forward to heading up to Dublin and he didn't know what he was going to do with it, but he was going to do something with it. And that's the kind
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, you know what, that could be fun. That could be, you know,
And what was the
um,
purpose of it? What it actually is the purpose of it? It's just kind of like a project or something.
I think it's an art installation, isn't it? And it's that whole thing of, connecting people around the world. Like I don't know what the official that's what I took from it. I didn't read into what the idea of it is, but what I do think is
I think
that
it's pretty cool.
yeah, and I love the fact that they were talking about it in terms of saying, there could be one in Madrid soon, there could be one in Sydney soon, there could be one, and the idea
Yeah.
that all these things link up together, and like where that could be brilliant, is things like Christmas, things like Patrick's Day, things like all these, like when you think about the amount of Irish
Yeah, it's
people that
very
are dotted
didn't even
around the
think of it,
globe,
but yeah.
and having that little moment, just a little beautiful moment between that sibling that you haven't seen in a few years, or
You're turning very soft in your old age, Dan.
I am, Graham. I am, yeah. Like me, if we had done the portal when we first started this podcast, I'd have,
You'd be
you
shitting
know,
all over it.
absolutely, but I'm much more mellow in my old
You'd
age.
be pontificating, going out, people doing mouners and all.
I wouldn't. That's the innocent shenanigans I can get behind. An old innocent, pink arse cheeks being pressed against the glass. That who's
But
getting hurt from that? Who's getting as a
you know
man
what
who
though?
has, sorry, Graham, just as a man who innocently took advantage of a well-known hotel in Sligo that is predominantly made of glass and mooned the city of Sligo, the town of Sligo,
I
whatever it
remember.
is. Who am I to judge somebody pulling a little mooner? Come on, like, you know. But I wouldn't be putting up an atrocity that killed thousands of people to the city that's had to suffer through that. I think that's, come on.
Like you were saying though, like the world is getting smaller with technology.
Mm.
And I remember when I remember using the internet first in work. And do you remember that website? Was it Ireland.com? I think it was the Irish Times domain. But
Right.
where they used to have the camera just overlooking O'Connell Bridge. And I used to find myself in work with that website, with that page open, and just watching the traffic.
Watching. Yeah.
And you'd
Like,
be like, "Oh, guys, it's not very busy now on O'Connell Bridge. Oh, it's busy now. Oh,
yeah, yeah. But,
the
but
things people do."
but people still
Now,
do
I
it
was
with
just trying to
the
waste some time at work.
Well, people still do it with the Temple Bar camera. Every Patrick's Day, every Christmas, people will always put up that Temple Bar one because you see it heaving, you see people.
Where is
So,
the Temple Bar? I know the one. Yeah,
yeah, but
yeah, yeah. So they've shut the portal now, and it's going to be reopening.
yeah,
But
they're
what
they're
are they going to
obviously
do to like th- just because they're shutting it for a few days? It does like it's that doesn't mean this stuff's going to stop though.
no, they're trying to introduce a software type buffer that will
That
basically
recognizes bombs and flutes.
pretty much, yeah, and it'll stop, OnlyFans girls going up and flashing it, which listen, listen, all they're trying to do, man, is get a few extra subscribers.
Yeah,
They're not doing that, and it's only a pair of ditties at the end of the day. Are they really doing that and all that wrong? I don't know. But like, yeah, I think what they're trying to do is they're an auto recognition of sensitive content kind of thing, and they'll be able to funnel that or stop that from being displayed on the other end of the portal then.
yeah.
So. But like, I don't look. I hope they figure it out because it would be a pity if it got taken away completely based on you know a few bowsies wrecking it for everyone. I think it's a
It
lovely
wasn't going
idea.
to be a permanent fixture, was it?
I wasn't. No, I've no idea. No idea.
I don't know actually.
I don't really pay attention to the news anymore. So you know, I think that's probably why I'm getting soft cream.
Is that why you procrastinate a lot?
Oh my God, I am. Procrastination has become almost a full-time job for me. Like, right, so as you know, I've started a new job, right? And anyone who starts a new job has probably felt that sort of feeling of like I'm drowning a bit here. Like there's a lot to take in, there's a lot going on. You're still trying to kind of prove yourself and whatnot. But that bit of procrastination, that bit of your brain that controls that, it's often the loudest part, right? Like, but today I was sitting there and I was writing out my to-do list and I was like, "Oh, I don't want to do any of it." And like, yeah, it's a fairly long list at this stage. And rather than doing that on it, man, ended up taking a quiz to find out what type of cheese I am. Like, no, just
What do you mean? What type of cheese you're?
on social media, and you'll come
Where did you find that quiz?
on Facebook. I don't do Facebook anymore. I don't go onto it. But I found myself logged in on Facebook out of pure procrastination, anything to distract me for 10 minutes. And then I was like, take this quiz to see what type. I was like, I don't even like cheese, but go on then. And there we go. 11 questions later, and apparently I'm a Stilton.
You're a Stilton.
Allegedly.
We must
You know,
we must tell Howie you're a Stilton because he loves cheese and the smells of cheese.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm very,
Stilton's rotten as well.
a bit of cheddar or a bit of mozzarella, and I'll accept that.
You're
If I,
more of an easy single head, though, aren't you?
no, I don't like easy singles at all. Now. I don't.
Yeah.
There's a weird tang off them. I
Has to be melted cheese, though.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I wouldn't. I'm not one of those people now that would just take a little handful of cheese out of the bag and eat it.
Oh no.
No, that's rotten to me. I'll accept cheese on a pizza and on a toasty, and that's
Do
about
you
it.
like cheese boards?
No, absolutely not. No, I can't
Like
abide by that now.
if you're at a friend's house or whatever and they put the cheese board out with all the cured meats, would you go for it?
No, no,
Right.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't even be like, "I'll go on, I'll try a bit." Just be like, "No, thank you."
Like go for the pate and the cracker and the bit of cured meat
I see.
and the
I wouldn't even go because that cheese is associated with it. I'd be
you're
more.
not that picky.
No, I am. I'd be more inclined to look at them, look towards their air fryer, and hope they, through osmosis, pick up my telepathic signal that's like, they got a few chicky tendies there, will you?
So if there was a chicken tender on the fucking cheese board, but it was associated with the cheese, you wouldn't go near the chicken tender.
No, I'd have the chicken tender because that's an unusual guest on a cheese board. They're not bedmates, Graham. Whereas a cured
An
meat or a
unusual guess.
it is though, like cured meat, breadsticks, little crackers, the bits of hummus, and all, they're all things that you'd associate with a cheese board. But I have never encountered somebody whipping out a cheese board that had a few cheeky tendies on it. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I got during the week in Duns?
Go on, hit me.
Uh, red pepper and jalapeno hummus, and I
Yes,
got
you
it with
mentioned this.
toys or I got it with sweet chili tuck crackers.
Yes.
So tuck and their crackers do all different flavors: bacon flavor, crackers, sweet chili, and sour cream and onion flavor. I was like, what the fuck? So I got some sweet chili. Now they're tasty, but they're not like there's not a huge amount of heat off them in terms of there is that sweet chili flavor, but
Yeah.
you're not like and the jalapeno and the red pepper hummus could be a bit more jalapeno-y, but
Now,
it is certainly tasty. Like for a snack, it's lovely.
you see, right, I like the little bit of heat, but I don't like it when all the only sensation I'm getting is heat to the point where I can't taste
Okay.
anything. So when you say right, so the Tuck sweet chili, for example, compared to say, the Walker Sensations, are we in the same bracket as
Yeah,
that?
Um, Probably
Okay,
not.
okay.
Maybe not as heaty.
Okay, right, then I'm on board because if they were a little bit more heat intensive than that, I'd be like, I don't know if I'd enjoy that snack now. But
Do you like
I'm curious.
heat?
It, I don't mind a little kick. Put it this way, I'd never use hot sauce. Hot sauce to me is it's a daft idea. I don't understand why people I don't understand why people
How was it
replace
a daft idea?
I don't
Hot
understand.
sauce is a daft idea. You sound so grumpy saying that. I'd love you to go out for us to go out or something, and someone gets hot sauce with their wings, and you just turn to them. That's such a daft
But it is
selection
though.
you have there.
I like one, I'm not a fan of wings in general, but especially wings that have hot sauce on them because all you're doing
Do you not do wings at all?
rarely, like I mean, if there's nothing else, I'll tolerate them. But I'd never you know the way there's some people who go to a venue purely because the setting has wings that like, oh, they're the best wings in Dublin, they're the best wings in that. I wouldn't enter a setting based on their chicken wing reputation,
Oh no, either would I.
But there are
But
people out
I
there
go
now
for
that
when if I go for wings, I always go for the barbecue flavor. You know, like a sticky Korean barbecue
yeah, see
flavor.
that I can get behind because that's you're not taking layers of skin off your mouth to the point whereby your taste buds won't recuperate for 48 hours. I don't understand
Do you know what?
replacing taste with intensive volcanic heat. Just don't
Yeah,
get it.
but you know, do you have Dieppe in Portage?
No, no. We are probably in the equivalent of about 1997 for food down here.
Yeah.
So the
There's a
spice bag only launched recently, and yeah, no, we don't have it yet,
the
unfortunately.
Dieppe. Actually, when you were going on about hot sauce being a daft idea, I think shredded chicken is a daft idea.
Right, I'm
It's the
open to this
most chewy,
conversation.
non-tasty. It's the most chewy, non-tasty. It's just shredded chicken is rotten.
Now, I'm with you to a degree because you absolutely can and absolutely will experience shredded chicken that's like that, and I would argue that stuff is either the proper cheap frozen or it's not being done fresh, shall we say, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I have had like crispy shredded chicken and it has been like genuinely some of the nicest food. Like, but
Bits of chicken,
again,
proper bits of chicken.
yeah, proper chicken breast that they've obviously just cut up fine and then they've, done the egg, done the batter, fried it and sent it out to you kind of thing, as opposed to, oh, he wants crispy, get that bag of big Al's out of the freezer there. Put them in the cooker, you know?
But, sorry, but I was going to say to you about Dieppe. There's a dish on Dieppe that I always get. Um, Gary actually recommended it a couple of years ago, and my uncle Ray.
Yeah,
Chili and basil beef with steamed rice, and it is very hot, but it is
right.
also very, very tasty.
Yeah. Now,
So I'd love to see if you would enjoy that.
because it does sound tasty. That does
Yeah.
sound very tasty now, right?
There's
So,
onions in it, and there's mushroom, and there's spring onions, and there's chili,
yeah.
it's not a sauce as such; it's a seasoning.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So it would be a dry
So
dish,
it there's a bit of sauce, like
right?
it's almost soupy, it's or
Okay, right.
brothy. It's almost brothy.
Brothy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, but I got it there on Sunday. I absolutely adore it. But now I'd be sweating eating it, but I enjoy that
That
intensity.
see, right, see that intensity. If I'm eating something and I start to get sweaty and I start to get a runny nose, that's where
Yeah,
I'm
I get
like,
runny nose eating that dish.
that's where I'm like, the intensity of this is leading me to a glass of milk. We've crossed the
Yeah,
threshold now. We you know,
right.
so I don't know, but like I'm adding jalapenos to everything. I'm only sure you're putting them on me crunchy nut cornflakes.
What's
Like
what what's hotter? What's jalapenos or chilies?
I think jalapenos are hotter than chili. Now you were just talking about your regular kind of the chilies you pick up in Tesco, just general.
Yeah, but like a red chili, like what's spicier? Like what's hotter? What gives off the more heat? Because the jalapenos I've been getting lately and putting into fajitas,
Yeah,
um, there's nice bit of heat off it,
right,
but in the basil and chili dish that I get,
right.
that
Let's
chili that chili heat is like blow your nose warm
right. Let's have a look here. Right. So, according to the
or blow your
Scoville,
nose heat, not warm.
according to the Scoville scale, which is the heat measurement of chilies and peppers and the like, right?
Yeah,
Your your bog standard bell pepper, nothing, right? Nothing. You then have to go up one, two, three, four levels to get to the jalapeno, and that has a heat measurement of between 2,500 and 8,000 Scovilles, right?
right.
Uh, the pepperoncini, which I assume is your regular bog standard chili based
Red
on,
chili.
yeah, based on the photo that accompanies it here, that is on the Scoville scale 100 to 500. So the jalapeno will be several times hotter than your regular chili, apparently.
Wow,
Now,
that's mad, isn't it?
right,
I'm just getting the wrong jalapenos then.
the next from jalapeno, the next one that I recognize on this list then will be a Serrano, and that's 8,000 to 23,000 Scovilles. Then it's Tabasco, and that's 30,000 to 50,000. Your cayenne pepper would be the same. A Thai chili would be 50,000 to 100,000. Habanero, 100,000 to 350,000 Scovilles. And then there's a few more
Affect that.
all the way up until you get to your ghost chili, right? And that's 855,000 Scovilles to 1.4 million Scovilles. And then the hottest chili
Fuck that.
is the Carolina Reaper, and that is 1.4 million to 2.2 million heat units.
There has to be a YouTube clip of someone eating that, doesn't there?
There is an entire TV show, Graham, that is based purely on people who are obsessed with chilies, right? And these lads who are trying to crossbreed chilies to make the hottest chili. It's mental,
And is
mental.
it daft?
Oh, it's so daft because it's full of Americans, right? And they are
Yeah.
just, there's
The
one
daftest
fella,
people on earth.
I can't remember this guy's name, but there's one fella who essentially he is seen as like, if you can blow the jocks off him with your chili, that's the seal of approval. If he takes a bite of your chili and goes, "Oh, that's hot," then it's fucking hot. He'd be laughing at us talking about jalapenos, laughing in our face relentlessly, you know. But that show, that
No, it wouldn't be.
oh
It wouldn't be for me. Now, my uncle is obsessed with hot sauces, and he would put he would love hot sauce on his ham and cheese toasties and all.
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no. Super hot, the spicy world of pepper people. That is the TV series.
What? Where can you watch that? Is that
It's
YouTube?
it is. There's probably clips on YouTube. It is a Hulu produced show.
Okay. Hulu
So
does all those type of.
yeah, what's the fella's name? Johnny Scoville. Johnny Scoville is
Hulu loves those type of shows that you'd normally see on YouTube.
yeah, yeah. Um, but it's bananas, and these lads are going around just taking bites out of raw Carolina Reapers just to see. Oh yeah, that's hot, all right. No reaction, no one. I'd have a heart attack, man.
Just for the you wouldn't be putting it on a ham and cheese toasty then.
Absolutely not. No, I do put jalapenos on my toasties. Do put jalapenos on my toasties. Big fan. Jalapeno, sun-dried tomato.
Oh yeah, they're lovely. There's that artisan place down in Dalkey and they do the Mexican melt and it's sourdough bread with pastrami mozzarella, chorizo, and jalapenos, and it's fucking divine. And it's very expensive for a sandwich. I think it's like 8 quid or something,
Sure, that's
but
the going rate these
it's
days.
unbelievable.
That's the sandwiches are
Yeah,
the sandwich game has gotten violent with the money it costs now.
it's ridiculous, isn't it? Like the
Ah,
only thing that has stayed the same is McDonald's,
it fucking hasn't, Graham. It
hasn't it?
fucking no. I fucking went through the drive-through there to get a coffee, and I said to myself, "Do you know what? I'll grab a cheeky six nugget, right? I'll grab a cheeky little six nugget with a curry dip there, and that'll keep me going." McDonald's chicken nuggets used to be €2 on the Euro Saver menu, right? Fucking 3.50 now.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a very
Yeah.
underwhelming
Remember everything
reaction.
on the Eurosaver was €2.
Yeah, yeah. I'm convinced the delay in the line there is what caused that reaction to be underwhelming. I thought you'd be astonished by that inflation-related increase.
No, 350's grand still for six McNuggets, like and a
Dude, it's fuck
sauce.
when they were €2.
Yeah, well, that was the Eurosaver meal. Nothing's €2. The Eurosaver meal when it came out, everything was a euro or €2, wasn't it? Nothing is a
Yeah, I
euro or
think
two
so.
euro on
Yeah,
that Eurosaver meal anymore.
that's inflation for you. Can't even get a double cheeseburger, I
But
believe now.
the Biscoff McFlurry's still out though.
I haven't dabbled this year. I had one last year when it came out, but this year now I haven't indulged.
It was divine though last year when we had it, wasn't
I could feel myself losing toes to diabetes with it. But I was okay. I'm an adult. It was my own choice, Graham. My body, my choice.
it? Do you think Donald Trump has diabetes?
Ah, he does, yeah. He's got gout at least, I'd say.
Is that from all the KFC eats?
Definitely strikes me as a man who goes in and asks for like a banquet bucket for the entire family, but he's eating it in the back of the limo himself, skin and all, you know.
But sure, doesn't he do that though?
I don't know. Does he? I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. There was a documentary I watched there ages ago, when he was president, and one of the orders before he went on a long haul flight on Air Force One was a KFC bucket meal, like, and you could actually see his butlers or whatever, whoever flies with him, servants, whatever, with the bucket of chicken.
Unreal. Like,
Yeah.
you know, of all the things that I have against Donald Trump, enjoying a bit of KFC isn't one of them.
No,
I
no, no, no.
mean,
Do
he
you think you
does.
get back in?
Unfortunately, I do at the moment, yeah. But he strikes me as the type of man who would enjoy eating a big bucket of greasy chicken in bed while jumping
On
between
the
the new
bedclothes?
while jumping between the news channels with the big greasy remote, getting angry at them for not talking about him enough, and then he's wiping the
Yeah.
grease on the bed sheets. Do you know what I mean? I'd say,
He has his dressing gown on.
yeah,
It's closed and tied, and then when he gets onto the bed, he opens up the dressing gown and just eats loads of chicken from his belly.
but yeah, I'd say it opens to the point where just one tit is exposed. And every so often, a bit of chicken skin will fall just around the nipple area. And rather than using his hand to lift it, he'll just drop the neck.
Look down at the chicken. Come here. With all the
Mm.
fucking court cases and everything that he has done the last 4 years, how is he still able to run for president? Like,
He hasn't been
and
convicted.
how is he still clear favorite? Like,
Right, so he hasn't been convicted of that. And America, like everywhere, does have that policy of innocent until proven guilty. Um, so I mean, he's been found guilty in civil cases of certain things, but that doesn't carry a criminal conviction, right? So the one that he's currently going through, the Stormy Daniels situation, right? The problem here is that the burden of proof that is required to show, because effectively what they're trying to prove is that uh, the Stormy Daniels payoff defrauded the voters and the people who donated to his political campaign because they're trying to say that the money Michael Cohen paid Stormy Daniels, and then Donald Trump repaid Michael Cohen, who was his fixer at the time, through campaign donations. And is trying to prove that paper trail is extremely difficult. Everybody knows and accepts that Stormy Daniels was paid hush money. Everybody knows and accepts that Donald Trump did sleep with her and cheated on his wife Melania in the process of doing so. And despite the fact that, all these right wing Christian groups and all that preach about family and preach about the sanctity of marriage and everything else, when you're talking about a racist, misogynist, absolute wretch of a human, they're more than happy to turn a blind eye to that stuff because it suits their political agenda, and having him in the White House will obviously be a lot better than anything else. But in terms of the trial, this particular one, I don't think he will be. I think the jury will acquit him. I think the burden of proof is too high. The really interesting one is going to be the Georgia one and the interference, the whole January 6th thing, because that burden of proof won't quite be as high and won't quite be as difficult given all the TV footage, all the White House records, all the different bits that are in there. The problem we
So
have
there's a
is
conviction then prevent them from running for office.
it should preclude him from holding public office. Yeah.
Well,
Depending on
but sure, how
so
long do
this
they have to try and get him?
well, this is the problem, you see, right? So the one in New York that's happening at the moment, all fine and well, that's happening, the time in there, that's great. But the Georgia case, which is the big one, that's the one that kind of most people are really looking at. That's just been, that we
He
don't
he,
know when that's
he
gonna happen.
obviously incited that. He definitely
Oh, of
incited
course he
that.
did. Of course he did.
Everyone's seen it. So is he not at least guilty of inciting hatred and inciting
Well,
a riot?
because of the way the American system is, the problem then becomes, technically he was still president. Technically, the First Amendment is in there. Does he have certain protections based on the fact that he is president? Freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't overwrite, as you said, the whole thing about inciting essentially a resurrection or an insurrection,
Yeah, yeah.
not a resurrection.
Insurrection.
It's not like
Resurrection.
he didn't fucking bring Jesus back from the dead or that like that. You know what I mean?
There's probably some people out there that think he did, though.
There's people out there who think he is the second coming. There's a
Yeah, no,
weird, mad sect over there that genuinely
yeah,
believe that he is being persecuted in exactly the same way that Jesus
as
Christ was.
Jesus.
And that
And
to
if
me
and
is
Vanny,
bonkers.
there's great documentaries from CNN's Tony O'Sullivan, where he meets his supporters. There was one released maybe 2 Sundays ago, but there was one from about 4 or 5 months ago where he goes to that town where they thought JFK was going to be resurrected and run with Trump. Like they actually thought that. And
People
and
are
Downey
wild.
is doing vox pops with people that actually believe that
Yeah.
that was going to happen. Like this is nuts.
This
Um,
is it's wild. It is absolutely wild. And actually, I saw Downey doing a vox pop with somebody there within the last day or two, and your man basically said Donald Trump could shoot somebody on the lawn of the White House, and I'd still vote for him.
yeah,
And I'm just like, that is, if that's a cult following. That's no longer about politics. That's no longer about, that is a cult following.
absolutely, it's a cult. But do you ever see? I send you clips from time to time. You send me clips from time to time from those two fellas, the comedians that they go out on
Oh,
the road.
yes. Yeah.
What are they
Yeah.
called again?
I can't remember, but it's like they catch out Trump voters
They
by
catch out.
putting
So
their own arguments to them. Like,
exactly. So they will do an interview with somebody on the street, a Trump supporter, and say, uh, "Can you believe Joe Biden said this?" And they'll quote a load of stuff, and credit the quote to Biden, and then they'll go, "Oh shit, cut. We have to cut. I'm after getting all those quotes wrong. Can we do it again?" So the person on the street who thought the quotes were attributed to Biden was so disparaging against
yeah,
Biden. He's a scumbag. He's this real vitriol stuff. And then when the presenter goes, "Shit, we have to cut. I'm after getting that wrong. Can we start again? I'm after attributing the quotes to Biden. Is it okay to start again?" The person will say, "Yeah." And all the quotes are Trump. What do you think now of those quotes? It was actually Donald Trump who said that. Oh, I don't think he meant it. I mean, I think he's okay. And I'm going,
Yeah.
it's just, are you for fucking real? Like,
It's
America is completely broke. Like,
it is absolutely like I'm a big believer in the world is more malleable than we think it is. And like nothing like there's nothing that leaves that kind of like ir irreparable damage. Nothing that leaves that. But I think the problem is that there's so many things that have coincided at once, and Trump is kind of like the lightning rod of a lot of it. You know what I mean? Like the QAnon stuff,
yeah,
the rise of the what was the Russian hacking group, the Bears, something Bears, all
yeah,
that.
the Bears.
The
I
Russian
don't think
interference.
a lot of the time, I don't think even Trump believes some of those stuff, but
He
because he
doesn't.
knows he has the backing of that,
Yeah.
he's using it, and a lot of America is just corrupt. Did you watch the HBO documentary on Alex Jones and the families of Sandy Hook?
No, I didn't. That Sandy
That's
Hook
just
stuff is just
disgraceful. Like,
too like I just you know. But again, the fact that like and again and like I've said it before, like for years, I viewed Alex Jones as almost like a comedy skit, and I enjoyed watching it because I was kind of like, we're all in on this. This is a little bit of a like we'll all get carried away with the whole, oh, maybe aliens are real, but then it started to get more sinister, and it started to get more,
yeah,
and that's when I was
you're
like,
you're watching it back in the day though, and you're kind of going, "This lad's actually funny," because I thought it was satire.
yeah,
First two or three times I watched Alex Jones, I thought it was satire. I thought it was taking the piss, like a mockumentary type style. And
yeah,
then I remember he did a couple of things, maybe 6, 7 years ago with Joe Rogan, and I
yeah,
was like, "This lad's actually psychopath."
yeah, yeah,
He's
and
bursting
it's
blood vessels trying to prove that a restaurant in Washington in the basement is Hillary Clinton is in the basement taking blood out of children and injecting the blood into her face.
oh man, all that kind of stuff is just mad
Like
to me.
it's
But
bonkers. But
but
Trump used him as a spiritual guidance, didn't he?
Trump cashed in with him for a long time. But here's the mad part of all that, right? So like the whole Hollywood elite and the pedophile rings and all that kind of stuff, right? And then the Jeffrey Epstein situation happens, and it's like everything that these kind of things do, where there is a grain or a kernel of truth, and that allows them to expand this massive sprawling multiverse of bullshit, right? And obviously the Jeffrey Epstein thing is absolutely sick and criminal and disgusting and wrong and everything else. But I cannot do the mental gymnastics that is required for all of these people to bang on about Epstein and the flight logs and talk about the Clintons and just ignore the fact that Donald Trump is there.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
like, hang on a second. Like,
You're calling out imaginary things.
it's just, yeah, but they pick and choose the argument so freely and so ignorantly and so willfully ignorantly that it's just, but yeah, Trump though, honestly, man, I, unfortunately, I think the problem is Biden. I do think age comes into it, even though Trump isn't that much younger than him. I do think age comes into it. But I also think the Middle East and the handling of Israel and Israel's absolute fucking disgusting carry on. I think that's what's gonna fuck Biden
Do
over.
American voters care about that though?
Yes, in a big way.
They do.
In a big way. So you've got the problem that
But
you
he's
have,
just
right?
after signing. He's just
Go on, yeah.
he's just after signing a 1.5 billion arms deal.
Yeah. So I think that the and this is where like that sort of mental gymnastics stuff and all that when it comes to politics is mad because you're gonna have the really, really, really staunch right wing pro Israel people in America who believe Biden isn't doing enough to support Israel. So they're gonna support Trump because Trump has been like more or less he's happy for Palestine to be wiped off the face of the earth. He'll support
Yeah.
Netanyahu, all that kind of crack, right? The flip side of that is,
Sorry, Dan, though, but
yeah,
what's going to happen then with if Trump and when he if and when or if he gets in And I agree with your sentiment there on he does want Palestine wiped. Sure, he called Jerusalem the capital of Israel.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and he relocated the US embassy to Jerusalem. Um, so what's going to happen with Ukraine and Russia if he's pro-Russian like?
So, well, this is the thing, right? So I think he he's not so much pro-Russian as he is an admirer of Putin. And as ridiculous and daft and stupid as Trump is, he isn't going to come out forthright and like just bend over for Russia, so to speak. However, he will take a far softer view. He will take a far more pro-Putin view, and he will absolutely withdraw funding, support, aid, all those kind of things to Zelensky and to the Ukrainian people, based purely on the fact
Yeah,
he'll more than likely spin the narrative of like, it's not our war, it's not our blah blah blah. We've been pumping too much into this for too long, etc. etc. Trump hates NATO, so the NATO argument won't get anywhere. He has no interest in,
yeah.
Trump
It's
would
not our war,
rather,
but he'll continue. He'll continue to arm Israel.
yeah, Trump would rather cozy up to fellow strongmen. Like, sure, look at him. I mean, look at what he was doing in his first term. It won't. When I say it won't be any different, I mean it won't be any different for the betterment of society. It will be
Yeah,
very different in terms of if he gets in for the second term, we are going to see a far more vindictive, a far more ruthless, and a much less controllable Trump. He's not going to put any sort of middlemen around him. He's not going to have anybody in his cabinet that is nothing but pure loyal, pure. The Trump way is the only way. So even those people who, they were in there and they knew he was an idiot and they were trying to kind of play both sides of the fence, that won't happen this time around. This time he'll just pack the cabinet with people who are just purely yes men, absolutely Donald Trump, whatever you need. And that will have consequences that are fucking alarming, to be honest with you. You know,
yeah,
like
and
a
and
situation
and
where America pulls out of NATO, or a situation where some of the accords that are in place and some of the things are in place, and Trump just decides, no, we're not doing it anymore. Like the ramifications of that alone, I think somebody like Tom Clonan would be brilliant to have on the podcast again to talk about that.
mm, maybe we will do that. Um, what I was going to say there was it was on our WhatsApp group there a couple of weeks ago. I think can't remember who it was, but someone said they can't wait until in Ireland, like in Ireland, the far right rhetoric only started really occurring when Trump was kind of at
Yeah,
his peak with his campaigns and stuff like that. So the question I think Gary might have said, when is this going to end, or I'm looking forward to this cycle of hate ending and stuff. I think if Trump gets in, and it looks like he probably will, it'll probably won't be till after that tenure is over because people will have less tolerance for other people. You know, people
yeah.
will see how he's acting. See, like I'll never forget on his campaign trail where he mimicked the person, the news reporter with a
With
disability.
disability. Yeah, yeah. And
And
this
I'm
is it.
thinking,
Like
if that
he,
was fucking the early 2000s and Clinton acted like that, or another world leader, Jack Chirac or whoever, they'd have been fucking,
yeah.
they'd nearly have to step down. Like,
And that's the thing with America is broken in many senses in terms of, it's either you're red or you're blue. There's very little space for a middle ground. There's very little space
yeah, it's a
for
kip, isn't
anything
it?
that's not, and it's such a problem. But I think you're 100% right. Like if you look at it in terms of a time frame, like all this kind of right wing terminology and the rise of it and all that, it is around that 2014, 2015 window. You've got the rise of Trump, you've got Brexit, you've got the likes of Maria Le Pen, Viktor Orban,
Yeah.
all these things in Europe, like all of them starting to just slowly come together. And it all comes from disillusionment, right? It all comes from people being angry, people being fed up, people and them not knowing where to direct that anger. They're not being the appropriate channel or the appropriate way for those people to express their frustration, express their anger. So they get led down certain paths. They get hooked into certain things
Absolutely.
that are purely designed to manipulate and coerce and all these things. And we're going to be dealing with it for a while longer. Like, if Trump gets in, it's going to be at least 4 more years of it. But the reality is that this cycle, you know, if you look at it from the point of view, we're in, let's say, year nine of it, year 10 of it, maybe, definitely year eight. Brexit was 2016, Trump was 2016. Like, if you look at it
Yeah.
from that point of view, probably got the same amount of time to go again. But I don't think it'll ever truly go away, but I do think the volume will get torn down on it, you know?
Yeah. Now, I spoke to just in regards to our local elections. I've spoken to maybe 4 or 5 local not as in people who are running. I've spoke to not only in our area but in other areas, and I was asking them what is it like on the doors, in terms of is the vitriol towards immigration and stuff on the doors. And they were honestly saying, no, it's not. It's people are bringing up immigration in the form of the government, how they've wrecked it, how they
Yeah,
have fucked up. And one of them said that a person said, how bad must it be for these people that they think it's an option to set up a tent on Mount Street? Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
That it must have been really shit wherever they were coming from, that they think it's safer to set up a fucking tent on a street.
yeah,
But they were very honest in the saying that immigration is definitely coming up on the doors, but it's not coming up with vitriol. It's not coming up with
yeah,
the rhetoric, get them out, or Ireland is full. That's not coming up. The priority on people on the doors, particularly in working class areas, is still the cost of living and housing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I've been told.
And I think, look, you've got people who are running in these elections, and I don't. I'm kind of, we've spent far too long talking about politics for something we swore we wouldn't talk about any longer on this
Yeah.
podcast, right? But like, you've got people running in these
That's
local and
happens with
European.
tangents and segues.
Exactly, man. Exactly. We go where the conversation goes. But like, they're running on things in a European election that have absolutely nothing to do with the position that you hold as an elected member of the European Parliament. They're running on things
Yeah,
because that's what they think the populist nonsense that they're coming out with is for. And it
yeah,
just goes to show how ill-informed, how ridiculous some of this stuff is. And when you see people like, I mean, look, I'm not in the borough anymore. I'm not voting in the borough anymore. But I'm up there often enough, and I'm seeing the posters, and I'm seeing some of the stuff that's going on, and I'm seeing some of the names on those posters, and I'm like, in what world is anyone going to vote for that person legitimately, knowing what they actually represent, if they haven't been
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of hoodwinked into thinking a certain way based on fear and based on scaremongering? And I
Not to mention they can't really do anything
no, of
locally.
course
I
they
mean,
can't.
they're going to get a rude awakening should they ever be elected, and they'll have L lads and L ones ringing them to fix their local gutters or fix the
Yeah,
pothole in the path
the
and
street
the
lighting,
curbs, the
the
street lighting, and that they'll get fed up.
yeah, of course they
But
will, of
and
course
and,
they
and
will.
also there's a candidate running I seen, um, and they're basically saying, like, do these people know the wages? The councillor, local council is like 28, 30,000 a year. It's a part-time job.
Yeah, I was going to
And
say,
they're saying that
realistically,
they're
most of them have a second job. Like,
absolutely, but the candidate, the local election candidate, I don't know what area they're from, but they're basically saying they will use the money for a staff to hire a staff member and also to donate to mental health. Now they're probably weaponizing mental health there for
they
a
are,
vote.
yeah. Do they think
But
they're on a minister salary?
that's what I mean. What salary do they think they're on if they think they're going to hire a secretary, part-time secretary, and the other part of the wage going to mental health? I mean,
They'll
stop
be
telling lies.
they'll be bringing transition years in on work experience that don't have to be paid if that's the kind of carry on that they're going
Yeah,
for,
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this is the thing, right? And I think, I look, the proof will be in the pudding, democratic process and all that. I think we will see very clearly in early June whether there is an actual appetite for that. And it'll be judged on the number of these fellas who do actually get elected or don't actually get elected.
Yeah, yeah.
I would be shocked if it gets anywhere near double digits. I would be shocked if it even got half of that. I do think one or two might get in because there's always going to be, you know, different circumstances and different factors that come into it. You've got some former big party politicians who have defected over to some of these kind of Ireland first type parties and whatnot, or independent Ireland for all or whatever they're calling themselves when we all know what they represent.
Few dog
Um,
whistles there, isn't there?
Big time, big time. And I'm sure some of them will get elected, but I'm sure the vast majority of them will be embarrassingly sent packing. And, you know, maybe it's not the nicest thing to wish upon people, but I would say uh, their results will be that poor that they won't even be able to claim the expenses back, kind of thing. And I hope that's a lesson that's learned to them. But
Fingers crossed.
I'm sure they already have their story pulled out, mainstream media, mainstream this, all out to
Yeah,
get them, all
the
against
excuse
them.
are already there.
It was a fraud election, stop the count. All the things all the things we heard when Donald Trump lost, we'll hear it
You
again
know how
now.
funny that sounds, but you do know that that's going to happen.
Of course, yeah, you know. So
That's exactly what's going to happen. Right, Dan. I think we'll call it a
Jesus,
night.
I wasn't expecting to end up talking about politics, considering we started talking about flutes and ditties at the portal and
Hot sauce.
hot sauce being daft. But sure, here we are, Graham. That's the
Here
beauty
we
of it.
are.
We haven't done one in a long time, or it's just yourself and myself, and it was nice. Enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we will be doing more of these when we can't think of a guest. So,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And hopefully next time Manchester United Football Club won't be on the television distracting us as we're trying to do this.
but I'm going in between Celtic and United there. Celtic are at half time. They're winning 3-0. Adam Eda scored and had him in me bet builder. So happy with that.
Gamble responsibly, kids.
Right. If you want to listen to us, you can go to WTSpod.com. You can search WTS Pod on any podcast provider. You can use Podcast Republic, Podbean, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere you get a podcast, just search WTS Pod. He's at Danjo Murray on Instagram and Twitter, whatever. We don't
Yeah.
really use Twitter, but anyway. And I'm at Mero Danny. But until next time, Danjo.
Give the new Instagram podcast account a follow,
Oh, the
lads.
new
Yeah.
Instagram page is at WTS Pod on Instagram. And we'll get going on that. There's been one or two posts already on it, so you'll see more posts coming up on at WTS Pod on Instagram. Until next week.
As soon as I manage to think of something relevant to post, I will. Yes, until next week,
Yeah.
clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Too sweet.